Hello guys, welcome back. So in my last video, I spoke about a data-driven test case creation. It was kind of part one, just an introduction, and now this video we are going to start in actual with test case creation for data-driven test case, which is the first test, basically this one. Okay, so going through the application. Okay, so if I go to the motorcycle, so my steps are like navigate, go to motorcycles, and then start filling up this data. Okay, where the data is coming from. So this data will come from Excel spreadsheet. I did already created a test data sheet for this. I don't wanted to waste the time in this video for while this creation. So I did created a test data for this. Okay, so I'll walk you through this test data as and when it is required. But for now, you can assume we are reading up the test data from this Excel spreadsheet. Okay, and fine. So what I'll be doing is I'll be reading the data from test data sheet, that is Excel, and then I'll be filling up all this data, right? So for each and every test case, I'll be doing the same stuff. Okay, so how we can make it data driven and all that we will see uh, going forward in next 2 3 videos. But for now, first our short term target, right? Let us enter the data into these fields: make, model, cylinder capacity, and all. So if you remember, for these fields we have already created some pages, right? So for fill vehicle data, right, we have already identified all the objects whichever we wanted. Okay, and here I see some warning symbol, right? Ideally we should not keep any warning symbols or any unused imports basically over here, right? So let me remove all these unused imports. They will unnecessarily cause the problem if you are removing the that particular API, or if there is a version change and API is deprecated something. Okay, so I already have all the web elements. Okay, now since this particular method on this particular page, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to enter the vehicle data, right? And in the when I say I'm entering the vehicle data, I'm going to fill all this data, right? So what I will do is I will create one method where I'm creating into the page object class of respective page. So I want to fill the data on enter vehicle data page. So that's the reason I am on enter vehicle data page objects, right? Here I will create one method, public void, I will say enter vehicle data, and give me a minute. And okay, so this is my method which I'm going to use for my data driven scenario, basically for filling up all this data. Okay, so the very first thing I want to select the value from make a drop down. Let's say I want to select Audi first or BMW. Okay, so how I am going to select, right? So we already know that we can use select class. Let's say select OS is equal to new select, and I already know the web element for this, it is dd underscore make, right? And then by using the reference of this OS, I can do select by visible text, and let's say I'm going to select BMW. Okay, so this will work perfectly without any issue. This will work. Okay, but this particular code I will be using similar code for model, similar code I'll be using for number of seats and on further pages as well. So point to tell here is this is something like common method for me, selecting value from drop down, right? So what I'll do is I'll copy this code and I'll go to my common methods class, and let me create one method over here for selecting a drop down value. Public void select drop down option. Okay, and let me put this particular code here. Now from where this particular value will come, dd mac, right? So I don't know, right? So on this particular class I don't know where it will come, right? So what I'll do is I will ask it as a parameter. So I'll say please pass me web element where you want to select. So I'll say web element, let's say element. Okay, so I'll make it as a element, right? So it will work for each and every web element whichever I'll be passing when I call this particular method. Again, this value I cannot hard code, right? So whenever I call this method select drop down option, I should tell two things. First, tell me the web element for which I want to select. That means tell me which drop down I want to select. Second thing I should ask is, tell me which value you want to select, which option you want to select, right? So what I'll do is, I will ask for one more thing called a string value to be selected, right? And let me pass this value as a under this visible text, right? So that it is parameterized completely now. Okay, and what we will do is, let's say we are trying to select the value, but the value itself is not present. Okay, so what I'll do is, uh, by default Selenium will throw you an exception, no such element exception or something. But let's say if you want to throw your custom exception, right? So what you can do is, you can do try, or maybe you can you want to throw the same exception but with some meaningful message, right? So what you will do is, you will put it in try catch block, try catch, and what kind of exception you want to catch. Okay, so let's say element not found, or could be anything, or let me throw the general exception E. Okay, and here you will throw the new exception, throw new exception. Either you define the exception, or just throw it as a general exception and pass some meaningful message. For example, what meaningful message I want to pass is, let's say I'll say value to be selected, or I'll say value is not present in dropdown. For web element, I'll say plus element, and value to be selected is this, right? So this is now more meaningful message, right? By looking at this particular message, I can understand where this exception has occurred, why this exception has occurred, right? So in my report I'll get a meaningful exception, right? Even if you don't put this try catch over here, it will work perfectly, and it will give you the standard message by Selenium. That should be perfectly okay. Okay, so this is fine. So this is my common method to select dropdown. Drop down value or drop down option, right? Now, how to call this method from common method? Okay, if you have watched my earlier video, we have already created a common reference under uh, one of the class called as object repo, right? Here it is, one method cm is equal to new common methods. And since this object repo is getting extended into test base right here, and this test base is getting extended into each and every class, right? So I should be able to call that reference cm dot everywhere, right? You see, cm dot get select drop down value, right? Now let us pass the drop down web element, which is, let's say, dd mac. Which value you want to select? Let's say I want to select a value called as bmw. These things again we are going to parameterize. We are trying to get the data from excel, but for now let us keep it as a BMW. Okay, second thing, what model I want to select. So again, model is a drop down, right? So how to handle the drop down? Again, by calling the same method from this cm dot select drop down, and it is drop down dot model, and value to be selected, let's say, is mopped. Okay, do I have it? Yeah. Okay, great. Now, how to send the values into the cylinder capacity, engine performance, we already know, right? Directly send keys will work. And for cylinder capacity and all, we already have this web element, right? So let me get this web element. I'll say this dot send keys, and let's say I want to send the value, it says 333. Great. Next is engine performance. Do I have for engine performance? Yes, engine performance dot send keys triple, let's say 555, whatever. Okay, now there is a date of manufacture again. As I told you earlier, here this particular calendar box is not required, because whatever data I'm trying to enter, it is working perfectly over here, right? I'm able to type the data. If this typing is not working, in that case I need to create the common class, common method for handling this drop down calendar. Okay, but in this case, since it is working, I'm not going to spend time. So it is txt dot, or what was that? Yeah, date of manufacture dot send keys, and let's say I want to send this particular text. Okay, again, number of seats is a drop down. So again, cm dot select, and dd is number of seats, and value what I want to select is 2. Great. And list price and annual mileage. So I'll say text list price dot send keys. I want to select something 444, and price, annual mileage. Yeah, and let's say I want to do send keys again with 555, pretty much, right? And finally, I can click on send button as well over here itself. But the problem, or I'll not say problem, but it is better to create a separate method for click action, right? Why? I'll tell you. Okay, so not always, but in this particular case it is better. Okay, why? I'll tell you. So let's say I'm putting it over here, it will work perfectly, not an issue. Okay, but let's say I don't want to put this button click over here, and I want to create a separate method, public void click on next button. And let me, oh, okay, so now why I did added it as a separate method, because let's say in future there is any test case where I want to uh, fill all this data, and after filling all this data, let's say I am filling up this annual mileage as some invalid value. Okay, some invalid value, right? So this particular method I'm going to call, right? So I'll be filling up all this data, and I'll be verifying this message. So in order to verify this message, I need not to click on send button, right? So now my this particular method which I created will be applicable in both cases, right? In one case where I'll fill all the data and click on next, in second case I'll fill up all this data and then verify this error message, right? So it all depends on purpose to purpose, right? Page to page, purpose to purpose, how you are going to handle it. Okay, so this is the method for entering the vehicle data. Enter vehicle data. Great. Okay, so what I'll do is I will pause the video and I will just create one more common method for these fields. And okay, or let us continue, because in this particular video uh, uh, we are going to create a common method for gender and a common method for checkboxes as well. Okay, so yeah, so I think for now let us close this particular class, because as of now we are done. Again, here we are hard coding the value, but we will remove it very soon. Okay, now the second page is about enter insurance data. So let me go to insurance data page. Great. And let me create one method over here, public void enter insurance data. Okay, so very first thing, enter first name. So I'll say txt dot first name dot send keys, and it is going to be, let's say, my name. Okay, let me send the last name as well, because these are the mandatory fields, last name, and let's say n my surname. Okay, so these things are done. Date of birth is also mandatory. Let me enter date of birth as well. Okay, so fine. And next part is about radio button selection, which is for gender. Okay, so now the first point here is how you will be getting this data from Excel spreadsheet. So if I go to my Excel spreadsheet, my test data sheet, and how I am getting the data for gender is something like this, male or female. So I'm getting only 1 point, but in few cases you might see something like this. So it's something like the gender hyphen male, and something like the gender hyphen female. Okay, and in actual test data you will see okay, if you want to send a gender as male, then you will see this option as true and this as false. If you want to select gender as female, then you will see this option as false and this option as true. Few people prefer using this particular approach. Okay, but I don't like this particular approach because unnecessary it is increasing my one of the column and again few more validation points into my test case, which I don't want. Okay, so simple approach what I'm keeping is just provide me what I want to select, either male or female. So now the point is clear. We need to create one common method in which we will accept what value you want to select, either male or female, right? And the second point we should also know is, because this is going to be common, right? In further steps I need to select some do I have anything else? Okay, so for radio button, I don't have anything else. But again, I'm going to create a common method because in your application, you will be having more than one radio buttons and checkboxes, definitely, right? So what I'll do is I will go to common methods and I will create a common method called as public void select radio button, select radio button option, radio button value, whatever, and that's it. Okay, so again I'm going to ask for the same thing, which radio button you want to select. For that I need web element, and what value you want to select. So for that I need value, right? So I would be needing these two parameters definitely. Okay, now once I got the web element and value to be selected, right? Now how I'm going to select the radio button? That's pretty simple, right? What I'll do is a couple of approaches. Okay, couple of approaches. So now the first point here is how you have captured the web element. So if I go here, enter insurance data, yeah. If I go here for radio gender, right? So we have taken it as a list of web element, right? So we have list of web element. Okay, now in this list of web element we have two things. First is male and second is female, whatever. Okay, so I have list of web element, I don't have the web element, right? So this common method should be accepting a list of web element because that's what I have, right? Because in list of web element I have two things, could be more than two, right? If I have multiple options more than that. In earlier case, drop down is only one thing which I need to select, right? In this radio button I'll be having multiple buttons, right? Out of that I need to click on one. So the very first thing is I should have list of all of them, which I have already captured over here based on the label. Okay, now I already have, let's say, list. Right now you already know how to iterate over the list, because let's say in my list, my current situation I have gender male and female, so I have two web elements into the list, right? So how to iterate over the uh, list is by using for each loop. That's the pretty simple I see, right? So I'm iterating over the element, right? Here you see whatever I got over here, it is on the right hand side. So these things get populated automatically if you have one or more. Even if you have more than one collection, it will take the latest one. So I'm iterating over the web element of list. This is what I'm getting, and out of this list web element list, I'm trying to get only one element at a time. Let's say element, or let me take as, let's say, reference, and reference is of type web element. Great. And now when I do ref dot, okay, when I do ref dot click, okay, so what will happen is it will click on first radio button, then it will click on second radio button, it will keep clicking, right? Because for it will iterate over all list. But what I want to do is I want to check if my uh, web element, if my web element reference is for male, then click, otherwise don't click, something like that, right? So what I'll do is I will say if ref dot get text, right? Because ref is a web element, right? I'll try to get a text out of that web element using get text method, and then I will check if it is equals or equals ignore case, let's say male or female, or in fact I need not to hard code it, because value what I'm getting over here is this one, value to be selected. So I'll simply say value to be selected. If it is yes, then click, then do this particular stuff. And once you are done with this particular stuff, simply break out of the loop. If you're not breaking, it will keep continuously checking. Let's say I have 10 web elements. Okay, let's say I have 10 web elements. In the first web element, this particular condition is not matching, so it is out of the loop. In the second for loop, the condition is matches, so it will click on the loop. It will click on, let's say, on that radio button. Fine, but let's say if you don't have this break, then it will again go to the next, for instance, third loop, and it will again check. It will go to the fourth loop, it will check. Fifth loop, it will check, right? So ideally we should break out the loop if my condition is successful, right? That's what I have added it as a break statement. Great. And I think that's pretty simple. That's it code I need to write for selecting the value for uh, radio button. Okay, so how to call that now? So here, date of birth I have selected. Now again, calling the common method is cm dot, what's the method name? Select radio button value. Okay, and it is radio button gender, which I have already created on top, RDO gender, right? This is what we are referring. And what value you want to select. Let's say for now I want to select value as male. Again, we are going to parameterize this, but for now this is fine. Okay, and what else? Okay, so what I'll do is I will end this video over here, and I will cover all these fields except hobbies. So for hobbies, I will continue in my next video. Okay, so that's it. Stay tuned. In next video, we'll talk about this, how to handle this checkboxes, and we'll go over enter product data. Okay, so yeah, thank you.